Okay, you guys, take a deep breath because I am literally shaking right now. We need to talk. Like, really talk. You've seen the photos circulating by now, right? The massive $1 million farmhouse hidden in the woods, the sold sign. And wait, is that blonde hair on Anna? For years, I've been screaming from the rooftops, where is Anna? And who is actually helping her? Well, it looks like we finally have $1 million answer. But let's be real, it smells fishy. Knowing my Uncle Jim Bob, nothing, and I mean nothing, is ever just a gift. It is always a transaction. So, is this house a sanctuary for those 7 innocent kids? Or is it the most expensive hush money payment in reality TV history? Is this freedom, or is it just a bigger, shinier cage? Today, I'm not holding back. I'm spilling the tea on the property records, the secret deals, and what this really means for Anna's future. Buckle up because this is going to get messy. Did you guys see the photos? Seriously, I woke up, checked my phone, and my jaw hit the floor. There is Anna, my cousin in law, the woman we've all been wondering about for years, standing in front of a literal mansion. And not just any mansion. This place is huge. It's got the wrap around porch, the massive windows, the long driveway. It looks like something out of a magazine. And right there in the yard is that big red LD sign. For a second, I was happy. I thought good for her. Maybe she finally broke free, but then reality set in. We all know the situation. Josh is in prison. He has zero income. Anna hasn't worked a traditional job in well ever. So, how does a single mom of 7 kids suddenly buy $1 million estate in the middle of the woods? The math isn't mathing, you guys. And then I zoomed in. Is she blonde? That was the second shock. Anna has always been the modest, brunette, keep sweet girl. Seeing her with highlights and those big designer sunglasses, it felt like I was looking at a stranger. It screams new identity. But the question is, whose idea was this? Did she choose this house, or was she placed there? Seeing these leaked photos feels like we're peeking behind a curtain that was never meant to be opened. It's flashy, it's expensive, and honestly, it's suspicious. Let's talk money. Because in my family, money is never just money, it's power. Real estate websites are listing this property for over $1 million. Let that sink in. $1 million. Where does that cash come from? We know it's not from a 9 to 5 job. And let's be real, the show has been canceled for years. There is only one person in Arkansas with that kind of liquidity who would drop it on a house for Anna, my Uncle Jim Bob. Now, why would he do that? Some people online are saying, oh, he's just taking care of his grandkids. And sure, maybe there's a sliver of that, but I know how this works. You don't get $1 million gift without signing your life away. This isn't charity, it's an asset. I'd bet anything that the deed isn't even in Anna's name. It's probably buried under some LLC or a trust managed by Jim Bob. That means Anna is living there as a guest. If she follows the rules, she gets to stay in the castle. If she steps out of line, the locks get changed. It's terrifying to think about. She's living in luxury, but she's likely penniless on paper. That's not security, that's total dependency. I've seen this pattern before. Uncle Jim Bob loves to play the savior. He loves to be the one who provides the houses, the cars, the jobs. It makes him look benevolent to the outside world. Look at how well he takes care of his disgraced son's family, right? But there is always a catch. When you accept a gift this big from Jim Bob, you lose your voice. You can't speak out against the family. You can't write a tell all book. You can't give interviews. You essentially become an employee of the brand. I have a feeling this house is the ultimate Ush money. Anna knows everything. She knows the secrets, the timelines, the conversations that happened behind closed doors during the trial. This house, it's a vault. And by putting her in it, Jim Bob is ensuring that the vault stays locked. It's a strategy. Keep her comfortable, keep her isolated, and keep her grateful. It makes me so angry because it looks like love, but it feels like manipulation. True generosity doesn't come with a gag order. Ooh, okay, can we go back to the hair? Because that is a statement. In our circle, dyeing your hair blonde, especially that bright Fox News blonde, is a huge departure from the fundamentalist aesthetic we grew up around. Usually, the goal is to look plain, modest, natural. Seeing Anna with this glam makeover, I have two theories. Theory one, it's a disguise. She wants to go to the grocery store without being recognized as Josh Duggar's wife. Maybe she thinks the blonde hair and sunglasses give her a shield. Theory two, it's a tiny act of rebellion. Maybe she's trying to reclaim some part of herself, but there's a darker third option. Is Jim Bob trying to rebrand her? Is he trying to make her look like the cool, modern Christian mom to distract from the past? It feels like a costume. I look at her face in those photos, and even behind the sunglasses, she doesn't look happy. She looks stiff. The hair might be bright, but the vibe is heavy. It's like she's trying to play a new character in a show that got canceled 5 years ago. There's a term I use a lot when I think about the women in my family. The golden cage. This house is the perfect example. It's beautiful. I'm sure it has marble countertops, a massive kitchen, a pool, maybe even a playground for the kids. From the outside, it looks like the American dream, but a cage is still a cage. No matter how much gold you paint on it, if you can't leave, if you don't control your own finances, if your entire existence depends on pleasing one man, to Jim Bob, then you aren't free. I worry that this house is just a way to isolate her further. It's out in the woods, far from neighbors, far from town. It's the perfect place to hide someone away. The kids have space to run, sure, but do they have space to grow? Or are they just going to be homeschooled in that big, beautiful prison until they're old enough to be married off? It breaks my heart because Anna deserves a home that is hers, a place bought with her own money where she makes the rules. This just feels like a transfer from one prison to another, just with better amenities. Let's do a reality check because I think people forget. While Anna is moving into this $1 million estate, Josh is sitting in a federal prison cell in Sagaville, Texas. It's 2026. He's been in there for years now, and he still has nearly a decade left on his sentence. He's missing everything. He's missing birthdays, Christmases, loose teeth, and first steps. He has zero income. Prison jobs pay pennies. So again, I ask, how does a wife with a husband in federal prison afford a mansion? It's physically impossible without a benefactor. And let's be honest, Josh's influence is fading. The longer he stays in there, the less control he has over the day-to-day lives of his family. But I know my cousin, he's probably furious. He's probably sitting in that cell hearing about Anna's blonde hair and this big new house and seething because he's not the one in charge of it. He's the head of the household in name only. Jim Bob is the one pulling the strings now. My heart breaks for those Kim Mackenzie, Michael, Marcus, Meredith, Mason, Mariella and Madison. That is 7 children growing up without a father in a house that feels more like a fortress. Mackenzie is a teenager now. She's old enough to Google. She's old enough to know why her dad isn't there. Moving them to this isolated estate, is it to protect them from the bullies or is it to keep them from the truth? I worry about their socialization. In the old house, at least they were near the warehouse, near some of the other siblings. But out here, it's just them. They are going to be so dependent on each other. I hope Anna is letting them have some normalcy. I hope they get to play sports or go to a real school, but knowing the pattern, they're probably being homeschooled right at that kitchen table, shielded from the reality of who their father really is. They are the innocent victims in all of this. You guys know I love a good contract rumor, and this one is loud. The word on the street, and what I'm hearing from people who know people, is that this house came with a massive NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, basically a shut your mouth contract. Think about it. If Anna ever decided to leave or write a book or even just sit down with Oprah, she could destroy the Duggar brand forever. She knows where the bodies are buried. She knows about the finances, the cover ups, everything. So Jim Bob buys $1 million insurance policy this house. I bet the deed has a clause that says if she speaks out, she loses the roof over her head. It's brilliant, evil, and effective. It keeps her silent without needing to threaten her directly. She gets security, he gets silence. It's a business deal disguised as family charity. I looked up the location of this place. It's deep in the woods. Like, deep. You have to drive down a long private road just to see the gate. To some, that looks like privacy. To me, it looks like isolation. When you are in a high control group or a strict family system, isolation is a key tactic. If you're far away from neighbors, nobody sees who comes and goes. Nobody hears the arguments. Nobody sees if you're sad. You are cut off from the world. It makes it so much harder to leave if you ever wanted to. You can't just walk to a friend's house. You are stranded on an island of luxury. I worry that this location was chosen specifically to keep Anna and the kids away from bad influences. Aka, the rest of the world, or even family members like me who might ask too many questions. It is fascinating to compare Anna to my cousin Jill. Jill wrote the book. Jill sued for her money. Jill walked away and found her voice. And what did she get? She got cut off. She got shunned. She had to fight for every penny she has. Then look at Anna. Anna stayed? Anna kept sweet. Anna supported Josh even when the evidence was right there. And what does she get? $1 million mansion. It sends a very clear message to the other kids: obey and you will be rewarded. Rebel and you will be punished. It's a sick reward system. Jim Bob is essentially paying Anna for her loyalty while Jill is paying the price for her truth. It proves that in this family, loyalty is valued way more than morality. It makes me sick to see it played out so publicly with this house purchase. In our community, there's a weird unspoken rule about Anna's status. Technically, she's married, but functionally, she lives like a widow. She attends weddings alone. She raises the kids alone. She goes to church alone. But unlike a real widow, she doesn't get the closure. She doesn't get to move on. She is stuck in this limbo where she has to keep sweet and wait for a man who won't be home for another decade. This new house feels like a widow's cottage, a place to park her while she waits. It's sad because she's still young. In 2026, she's in her prime years. Seeing her stuck in this role of the faithful, waiting wife is frustrating. She's mourning a life that never really existed, grieving a husband who is still alive but locked away. It's a tragedy in slow motion, and this big empty house just amplifies that loneliness. I did some digging because I'm nosy like that. You don't just buy $1 million property with a debit card. Usually in my family, these things are done through LLCs, limited liability companies. Jim Bob loves an LLC. It hides the real owner's name from the public records. I bet if we pulled the paperwork for this house, we'd find some generic name like River Valley Holdings or something. That is the key to control. If the house is owned by an LLC that Jim Bob manages, then Anna is just a tenant. She likely has no equity. If she decides to leave the family fold, Jim Bob can legally evict her. It's a leash, a very expensive, very comfortable leash. It's not financial independence. It's financial entrapment disguised as a gift. If I could walk through those big double doors right now and sit Anna down on her new couch, I know exactly what I'd say. I'd say, Anna, this isn't worth it. I'd tell her that no amount of square footage can make up for the loss of your freedom. I look at her and I see a woman who has been beaten down by a system that tells her she is nothing without a husband. I want to shake her and say, you can do this on your own. You don't need their money. But I also know fear is a powerful thing. She probably looks at those 7 kids and thinks, how else will I feed them? It breaks my heart because I'm right here. I'm an ally. I would help her. But the walls around her, both the physical ones of this estate and the emotional ones, are so high that I don't think she can hear me anymore. Okay, we have to address the elephant in the room. The internet is going wild with rumors that Anna is dating. People see the blonde hair, the weight loss, the new confidence, and they assume there must be a new man. Honestly, I doubt it. Not because she doesn't deserve one. She absolutely does. But because of the surveillance. Living in a house bought by your father in law means living under his microscope. Do you really think she could sneak a boyfriend past the security cameras or past the watchful eyes of the family? Unless that's the real secret. Maybe this house is far away so she can have a little freedom. It's a wild theory, but in this family, stranger things have happened. But knowing the strict IBLP rules on marriage, I think the new look is more about her trying to survive mentally than it is about a new romance. Why does she stay? That's the $1 million question. Literally, it comes down to one thing: religious guilt. We were taught that divorce is a sin, period. The IBLP teachings drill it into your head that you are responsible for your husband's soul. If she leaves Josh in her mind, she is condemning him and herself. Jim Bob uses that guilt like a weapon. He probably frames this house as a blessing from God for her faithfulness. If she were to leave, she wouldn't just lose the house, she'd lose her community, her support system, and in her eyes, her standing with God. That is a terrifying amount of pressure to put on one woman. This house is a physical manifestation of that spiritual bondage. It's beautiful on the outside, but it's built on a foundation of fear and obligation. You can't hide $1 million mansion in a small town. People talk. I've heard whispers from locals who live near this new property. They say it's quiet, like too quiet. They see the big SUVs coming and going with tinted windows. Classic Duggar style. Some neighbors have mentioned seeing the kids playing outside, but always with supervision, always close to the house. It's almost like they're living in witness protection. The locals know exactly who lives there, but there's this weird vibe of don't ask, don't tell. It just proves that even with all that land, they aren't really part of the community. They are a fortress unto themselves. It makes me wonder if Anna is lonely out there, surrounded by trees but cut off from actual human connection. Let's be real for a second. Does Anna have any money of her own? I doubt it. She went from her father's house to Josh's house and now to this house. She has likely never signed a paycheck in her life. That lack of financial literacy is by design. If she had her own bank account, she'd have options. But when every grocery run, every gas fill up, and every pair of shoes for the kids is likely paid for by the family trust, she is trapped. This house isn't an asset for her. It's a liability she can't afford to maintain without Jim Bob. If the AC breaks, who pays? Jim Bob. If the roof leaks, Jim Bob. That total dependency is what keeps her in line. It's not just about loyalty, it's about survival. Why now? Why buy this house in 2026? I think we are seeing a shift in the Duggar strategy. For a few years after the trial, they laid low, but now they are trying to rebrand. They want to look like the stable, prosperous family again. Buying this luxury estate for the struggling single mom fits that narrative perfectly. It says to the world, look, we take care of our own. We are blessed. It's a PR move. Jim Bob is trying to rewrite history. He wants people to forget the scandal and focus on the redemption by putting Anna in a beautiful house and getting her to look the part of a happy modern mom. He's hoping the public will move on. But we haven't forgotten. And a nice house doesn't erase the past. What is the long game here? We all know Josh will get out eventually. He has less than a decade left now. Is this house waiting for him? Is Jim Bob setting up a soft landing for his son? That is my biggest fear. I worry that this estate is being prepared as the place where Josh will retire when he's released. A place far away from the prying eyes of the public where he can slip back into his role as head of the household like nothing happened. If Anna is just keeping the seat warm for him, that is the ultimate tragedy. She's doing all the hard work of raising those kids only to potentially have to welcome back the man who destroyed their lives. It makes me sick to think that this gift might actually be for him, not her. As I wrap this up, I just want to say this directly to Anna on the off chance she ever sees it. Anna, you are stronger than you know. You have survived things that would break most people. This house, the money, the security, it's all smoke and mirrors. My hope for you in 2026 is that you realize you are worth more than a transaction. You deserve a life that is truly yours. You deserve to be happy, not just comfortable. You deserve freedom, not just a golden cage. If you ever decide to walk out that door, there is a whole world out here ready to support you. We haven't given up on you. We're just waiting for you to realize your own power. Until then, I'll keep speaking the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it makes the family, because someone has to